Verle Sorgen was a star at Riverside Poly High School, earning 9 varsity letters in basketball, track, and baseball.
Well, it was the summer of 1952, so just so happens that they had an opening for a second baseman. I'd never played second, I'd never played organized baseball, and one of the very first things that I remember about how thorough Verle was about teaching the game was that he asked me where I lived, and I told him that I lived about a mile and a half from Palm School. He said, well, I need to show you how to make the double play if you're going to play second base. So he showed me 3 different ways: off the front of the bag, off the back, and just a straddle the bag. He said, when you go home tonight, what you do is you make sure that every square on that sidewalk you perform one of these 3 moves. By golly, I did that. Took me probably about an hour and a half to get home. From there I was able to play second base for a couple of games.
Verle Sorgen is considered one of the all-time great athletes to come out of the city of Riverside in the 100 years of athletics. Consider what he did at the high school level. He was a 3-time All-State CIF performer in 3 sports while at Poly, in baseball and basketball and track. He won the CIF broad jump championship 3 years in a row. And consider that Poly in those years was a 3-year high school. And he had great coaches at Poly High School. And they played over at Wheelock Gymnasium. And with Orrin Reif was his high school basketball coach. And Ben Hammerschmidt was his baseball coach in the 10th and 11th grades. And Bud Langley was the track coach. That was part of a kind of a future USC connection that was going to come about.
Well, to me, he made the game not only interesting, but fun, okay? And we just had a great time. We would go over to Palm School early in the morning, and he would give us a hose, and he would give us a rake. And at that time, the playground at Palm School was nothing but granite. And we would water down the field, and we would make cutouts, because at that time, every infield in the major leagues was different. They had no major league team out here, but we saw books and newspaper articles from all of the teams in the Midwest and back east, and we would make a different infield. And one day it was Yankee Stadium, the next day it was the Polo Grounds, the next day it was Tiger Stadium in Detroit, Comiskey Park in Chicago, and of course Wrigley and all the other ones. These are the things that he really made the game interesting as far as our following the game, and he was very, very good about that.
At USC, there's 4 major varsity sports. Verle lettered in 3 of those sports each year for 3 straight years. And in the history of USC athletics, only a handful of athletes have done that. He was a true student athlete also. He was named the outstanding student in the class of 1953. And while at USC, there was a definite Riverside connection, and Jess Hill was the coach. The next year, Jess Hill went on to become the football coach and then the athletic director. In come Jess Mortensen from RCC after a 14-year coaching career at RCC, Riverside Junior College at that particular time. And for 3 straight years, USC won the national championship, and Verle was a big contributor on those teams. If you name a sport, Verle officiated it. Basketball, baseball, tennis, certainly football. He quickly became known as one of the top officials on the West Coast, which led to a 21-year career as a sports official in football for the Pac-10 at Mirage Bowls and in the 1985 Rose Bowl. In fact, Rich Stalder was in the stands that day and said, "That's my Palm School coach out on the field."
But it's a very proud moment that I ever got to play for a person such as Verle. And it has stuck with me all of my life that he was not only a great athlete, but a great person, actually more than a great athlete.
Verle has left his indelible mark on 4 professional sports leagues, 6 NCAA sports, as Pac-10 Conference Football Officials Coordinator, and as an NCAA Football Rules Subcommittee member.